That was the checkerboard. You saw it right there. And it was checkerboard for Tennessee beating Florida. Just sounds good. And Cooper Mays is going to visit with us, and we certainly appreciate that. Hit that like and subscribe button, turn the notifications on. It's brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. It is all about integrity, and that's what they do over 50 years in the biz. Coop, I just want to start. I've been talking for 4 months or so now, and I thought that you guys had a great chance to beat Florida even at the time. But still, it's kind of not done till it's done. I just want to say congratulations, man. I know that's a big one for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, starting out 4-0, great performance by Hendon. You know what I'm saying? We grinded out, long game, good win at home. Fans were great and everything, so got to be happy with it.
Yeah, so let me. I was going to get to this eventually, but let me go to Hendon for just a second because you mentioned him specifically. Obviously, he's the leader of this team, but he was very open and honest at the press conference, saying the goal is still to get to Atlanta. It wasn't just to beat Florida. Having that leadership and having that mindset, how important is that?
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, I think it's easy for a team that maybe hasn't seen great success lately. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for a team like that. Maybe if you could see somebody getting complacent, after getting a big win and everything. But I think having people like Hendon and that in the forefront and the leadership spots that are letting this isn't over. We got bigger stuff to accomplish. It's important for sure.
So, how does this team not become complacent? You got an off week. You could sit back and feel really good about yourself, or you could take another approach.
I mean, really, the biggest thing is you just got to keep going on the path that you're going on. I think we've got a great group of guys that kind of keeps their nose to the grindstone no matter what's going on, whether win or lose. I think we've kind of got the right mentality. So just kind of keeping on the track that you're going and not veering off at all. That's the way to keep it where it needs to be.
Hit that like and subscribe button and share, comment below. And if you get any questions for maybe Cooper next week in the off week, we'll work those in. And we certainly appreciate City Heating and Air Conditioning for making all of this possible. So you guys are in complete control, I thought, at one point in the second half, and then it kind of slips a little bit. What's the mindset there as what looked like you guys were going to run away with it suddenly becomes a much tighter football game?
Yeah, I think what I was thinking the whole time was that the game's not over. I mean, it's easy for probably somebody to be like, we're up 17 points or whatever with 8 minutes left, I think it was, and probably everybody in the stands thought it was a done deal and everything, and you know kind of Coach Heibel talks about it's not about what it looks like in the middle or at the beginning, but at the end of the game we got to be +1 or a lot more. So just kind of not thinking that it's over until the clock hits zero. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that probably thought that it was over, but as you can tell and as you saw, a game's not over until that clock hits zero. So you got to keep the right mentality.
Where were you? What were you doing on the final play when a Hail Mary could have just broken your heart and broken everyone's heart?
Yeah, I was actually standing with Jacob, the other person you have on the podcast here.
I
So
do,
he
yeah.
was,
Okay. Was
me.
it
I
you?
was
Was it you, Jacob, and Theo Vonn together?
no, it was close though. It was close. He was a few feet away. We probably should have had him there. He probably would have had some funny stuff to say to cheer us up. But you know, Jacob was over here. He was trying to keep everything positive. He's such a positive person. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, not this. You know what I'm saying? It can't be this way. But yeah, it ended up working out in the end, and it was a great time.
So I mean, you know the history. So does Jacob, but you know the history of the heartbreaking losses that have happened, and you said you grew up a Tennessee fan. Your dad played for them. So, in the back of your mind, are you maybe a little more concerned against Florida than another opponent that something could go awry?
I don't know if it was as much as about it being Florida or just kind of just being a Tennessee fan my whole life, but I feel like everybody that's a Tennessee fan, deep down has like had a bad taste in their mouth because some stuff just doesn't go our way sometimes, I feel like at the end of the game, usually. So, just I don't know. You know how it goes. Just sometimes you just get a little bit, you know, thrown off by the history and everything. But we've been able to come out with two overtime, or not an overtime game this time, but the overtime game at Pitt, and then a game that came down to the wire this time against Florida. We've been on the right side of it, so yeah, it's been a lot better than what it used to be. I feel like.
I want to ask you how big that is mentally. Again, the Vol Report with Cooper Mays is brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. If you want to learn more, it's about integrity, and they're going to give you exactly what they promise, and they're going to provide that service for you. City Heating and Air Conditioning brings you the Vol Report. So, Cooper, now that you've had two games that have gone right up until the bitter end, especially that Pitt game, how much does it help the confidence of this team? Because there's a good chance you guys are going to be in a tight situation again before the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean it's huge. What I think back to is when I was in high school. My freshman year, we had like the best team in the state. We were loaded like talent wise. We had Amari Rogers, who is at the Packers right now. Me, Cade, Brian Tucker, he's at Clemson, and then our quarterback was Chase Cunningham, who just got done beating Miami at Middle. So Middle Tennessee just beat Miami. So he was a
Mhm.
starting quarterback. He threw for like 400 yards. So he's a stud. So I mean, we were loaded. I didn't play a second half of football that whole year until the last game of the season. That last game we got beat, and I think a big part of that was because we were so good and we were beating people so bad that we would be out by like the third quarter, and it kind of didn't allow us to like have the opportunity to fight through a whole game. So having like big games like that go down to the wire, I think it prepares you for winning those tough games down the stretch for sure.
That's interesting. I could see that, and it's good to get wins with that mindset. So, what is the focus on the off week? It's a very early off week. Do you like that? Would you rather it be towards the middle or end of the year?
Mm, uh, yeah, I guess it's a little bit early. I don't know. I mean, I'm never going to complain about an off week, but I guess it could be a little bit later. But I think the biggest thing is you just got to go into it and practice the right way, get guys healthy that need to get healthy, and get good reps in, and just not take it as a week off. If that makes sense.
Yeah, completely understand. But yeah, getting healthy is a big factor. Speaking of that, Cedric Tillman wasn't able to play in the game, and you got guys that just really, really step up and made big, big plays. How good is this receiving core? Because I watch a lot of football, and I don't see one better than the group you guys have.
Yeah, I mean they definitely have impressed me, and I'm sure they've impressed a lot of the fans and everything as well. If you look at losing a guy like Cedric, having him out, just that's a huge he's a stud. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the best in the country, one of the best there is in the whole country, no matter which way you cut it. So I mean, to have guys like Ramel Keaton, Jalen Hyatt, and Brew, those guys stepping up and kind of filling that role, that was big time. That was probably what was a big part in us winning that game.
In particular with Brew, at the press conference, he was incredibly gracious, just to have an opportunity. Just to, he talked about what he went through being eligible and the fact that he wanted to prove it to you guys as a team as much as he just wanted to prove it to himself. Um, with all the previous baggage, for lack of a better term, you might wonder about a guy, but then he shows up, and what's he been like since you've worked with him?
Man, I've been telling people this. I will say that Brew has been nothing short of a great human and a great teammate and a great, you know, whatever noun you want to put after great. Like every time I've been around him, he's been nothing but good to me, good to everybody else. He just, he works hard and, just does stuff the right way, and you don't really hear much else from him. So I've been getting more close to Brew as time goes on, just seeing him, how he's performed and the way he carries himself. I've been very impressed. I like Brew a lot, and he's a really good human being from what I've seen.
How many 400-pounders have you gone against in your life?
Two.
Two? I thought that
two.
was going to be one, which was the Florida game. I was not expecting two.
No, I think two. Maybe. I'm trying to think if it's three, but two for sure. Two for sure.
Okay, who's the other one? Because obviously Des Watson was one, and you did a great job on him. He just had 3 tackles.
Yeah. Let's see. So the other one was he was my high school teammate. His name's Tim Amet. He actually walked on for a year and played D-line for us, but he's not on the team anymore. But he was, I think, 402 when he showed up to our high school, and yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot of weight to move. I like going against bigger guys. That's not I'm very more on the quick and athletic side, and can stun those guys a little bit and get them moving, and then I can win positionally, and you don't got to worry about them like jumping gaps or making you fall on your face or whatever. You're not going to miss them is what I'm saying. It's very hard to miss number 21.
That's very true. So who was the first person you talked to outside of the actual team following the win against Florida? Who was the first person that you visited with? Maybe your dad or somebody else, or
yeah, I would say my family. You go in, get a shower, get dressed, get your bags and everything. You walk out, and I head right to my family. That's what I do every game. But what I do is most people, they come out the main exit where all the fans are by the buses and everything. I don't go that way. I take another route and go up the stairs before that and go right to my family. And then we'll walk back all the way past the center field of the baseball field. That's where I park. So we'll walk like a mile after the game, which is that's a pretty good hike. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, that's awful. That seems awful. You can't get a better parking spot.
Well, the recruits get all the rides and everything. I mean, I only played 80 plays. You know what I'm saying? I only played the game, so I don't ride in the golf.
That's right. You're the one that's hurting today, not them. So what was that conversation? What was that conversation with your family like? I mean, this is one you're like we talked about last week. You're never going to forget this. So what were those moments like?
Really, they just kind of affirmed that I played good to me. Like I thought I played very well. So my dad kind of confirms that. Usually that's how it goes, and then my mom says the same. My mom thinks I play great regardless, but my dad knows kind of more what to look for as far as football. So, and then other than that, I mean, we don't. It's just normal. I mean, we're just normal people. You know how it goes. I mean, we just talk like everybody else. So that's about it. It's just normal everyday stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think very fondly of your dad, so I imagine that was a pretty special moment. Okay, so I have a Heisman vote, and I look at Hendon Hooker, and I think this offense suits him really well. And there is a very open-ended description of who you should vote for the Heisman. It's just most outstanding college football player. That could mean anything to anybody. That can mean a bunch of different things.
Yeah, it's up for interpretation.
Very much so. So why should Hendon Hooker be a serious Heisman candidate?
I mean, when I look at an outstanding player, I think that he changes the way the game's played in a positive way. Obviously, not negative, but the Heisman candidate is not going to change it in a negative way. But he changes the way the game is played. If you look at Hendon Hooker, I mean, 45 touchdowns and 2 interceptions as a starter, I think is some crazy stat. I mean, that's unreal. That's unheard of. I mean, if you just look at his stat lines, that's good enough. But then you watch the film and just the opportunities he creates for us, and you know, just as an all around football player, he makes everybody around him better. He makes the whole show go around. So I mean, how could you not think that he's one of the best in the country, or up there in the Heisman contention?
No, I think the stats are definitely going to have him there as well, and you don't necessarily win that in the September, but he's certainly on his way. Conversation of the Vol Report with Cooper Mays is brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Go to cityheatandair.com. Again, cityheatandair.com. So, Coop, when do you start scouting the next team on an off week typically?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think back to last year, but I think I might have been hurt still, maybe last bye week, so I don't remember as clearly. But I mean, I'll get ahead and I'll probably watch some this week. I'm not really sure. Probably around early in the week. I mean, we're not just gonna waste time, but so whenever we get to practice them, I'm sure we'll look at them.
So, when you start scouting people out, do you have how much better of a feel do you have when you see a team that's played 3, 4 games as opposed to coming out of the chute and seeing just 1 or 2 games? How much does that help a lot?
Um, I would say it helps a little bit because you get more volume of what to look for in their work, but um, usually a lot of the time it really just depends on the defense. If there's a lot of new starters, then 1 or 2 games isn't enough to like know who you're going against. But as far as like a team like Florida, like I played a lot of the guys multiple times before going in, so it wasn't much of an issue. But if there's a new team, we haven't played LSU before while I've been here at least. So I'm sure having a more developed category of games to look at, it'll be better for us.
I can't believe I'm asking you this. Theo Vonn on the sideline, and he's running around like a crazy person, and he throws water on Josh Heupel. Did you get any? Did he address that at all? I mean, it's not, usually not time for a Gatorade shower in September, but he got one from Theo Vonn. How surreal is that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy about it personally. I don't know. I don't know how Heupel feels about it. Honestly, if you watch the video, I don't even think Heupel noticed it wasn't his players doing it. If that makes sense.
It
I think
does.
if you look at him, he didn't even look at who threw the Gatorade on him or the water or whatever it was. But I mean, I personally didn't see it either. I saw it on Twitter after the game. I thought it was hilarious. I don't know.
It
I don't know
was
how Heupel feels about it. I thought it was a great moment.
it was hilarious. And you said you spoke to him briefly. Theo Vaughn is a blank dude. Fill in the blank.
Hilarious. I would say he's comical. You know, I like I said, I was talking to you earlier before the recording. Theo Vaughn if I had to say who probably my funniest person was to ever go into comedy, I would say he's up there in my personal favorites. I think Theo Vaughn is just hilarious personally.
Last thing, I'll let you cruise out of here. Again, the Vol Report brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. It's about integrity at City Heating and Air Conditioning. That's what they do for you. Other than the very end, what was your favorite moment of that? The whole day. It could even be the Vol walk. It could be afterwards. It could be during the game. Other than the end, knowing that you won, what was your favorite moment of the day?
That's a good question. That's hard to put. I'd probably just say the whole game. If you look at like I just really enjoy like being out there with my guys personally. Like just being in a hard fought battle, like in the trenches, with the guys around me, the four around me. I enjoy that, more than anything in football. So really just being in there and just struggling with them and overcoming with them. That's what I'm here for.
Coop, congratulations, buddy. You beat Florida. You did something that's monumental in this series that hasn't been done a lot recently and hasn't been done since 2016. So congratulations to you and enjoy it. I know that you'll have the focus to continue on. And yeah, it's really awesome seeing you have that success and your team have that success. And kudos, man. You deserve it. I know you work hard.
No doubt. Thank y'all. Thank you.
He is Cooper Mays. I'm Dave Hooker, City Heating and Air Conditioning, bringing you the Vol Report. And this has been a production of Off Dog Sports.